Well, it's about a unified field. It's about everybody working together and feeling like they're helping each other along the way, not just people helping you and your brand, but you helping others. And they need to feel that mutuality in that effort of communication, care, and things like that.
What's like maybe some of the tactical stuff to get this stuff out, to get this machine? Like 50 million a month is a big number, right? So what's gonna get that plane off the ground and going 100 miles, 500 miles an hour?
Yeah, and again, you walk before you run, right? So we always, a lot of people are familiar with this that have raised capital, but you test the waters, right? So you test the waters, which is a methodology for raising capital where you just test your network. But one of the things we didn't tap into is that I love, and I have a whole chapter dedicated to this, chapter 3, on what I call building your social team. So I call it, but really we all know it as building your network. Now, if you remember, I always laugh about this and guilty as charged myself. When everybody first got on LinkedIn, it was like the race to 5,000 connections, right? It was like, oh, how many connections do you have? And it's like, and then, then Facebook was the same thing. How many friends do you have? But are they really friends? And did you just like massively connect to everybody in the world in hopes that you would have a marketing machine? But it's a disconnected, non-humanized machine because it's cold. It's basically now you're infringing on people and throwing stuff at them, whether they have an interest in doing business with you or not. And it had a big negative effect on folks, to the point where today people prune all their connections to get rid of all those people. Like, that's an active effort that's been going on for almost a decade now, thinking about how old social is. And so what I always say is, I'm like, well, everybody in the company that's a founder and the brand has a network, right? And we said, what if you treated that network like it was truly an empowered team of people, just like a sports team? Brett, who's your favorite team?
Oh, San Francisco 49ers.
There you go. I'm Chicago Bears, right? So, and hopefully both of us do well, not against each other, but we both do well. So in building, and I studied teams. In Chicago, we had a lot of successful teams. I was part of the Michael Jordan era, that whole thing. And so, so you start looking at successful teams, and we've had a lot of unsuccessful teams over the years. So I've studied both, the Cubs, the Sox, good years, bad years, all those. And so you start looking at what are the traits of those teams. Well, it's about a unified field. It's about everybody working together and feeling like they're helping each other along the way, not just people helping you and your brand, but you helping others. And they need to feel that mutuality in that effort of communication, care, and things like that. And I don't want to get too deep into being a good customer service person and things like that. But, a lot of that stuff wraps together a business fundamentals, but it's actively selecting a core network for each of the officers, and then each of the directors, and then the employees, and getting everybody to really talk the same way about a brand and tell the story about the brand, and the founders the same way. And if you can get to that basic, simple science and pass that on to that network that you have, those people are going to bring others. Because we know that now with social media and the internet, we're more like 2 to 3 degrees apart from all the people we could ever possibly want to know on this planet, rather than 6 degrees of separation. So think about that. If you could, I call it the ideal 40 for each person. If you could get people to just be connected to 40 ideal people, whether they're part of the capital raise, or they're part of production, or they're part of, whatever their role is, to connect to 40 like-minded people that were helping each other out. And you start doing the math, and even if you only have 20 people in that company, and you start multiplying that out by 2 degrees, you have a foundation for not just raising capital, but generating business, goodwill, and a fan base that is going to continue to bring you people. And I can tell you an actual effect from S2A when I stepped in and did this, is we only marketed we only marketed in the US. And now in less than 3 years of my efforts and the team's efforts together, we now have over a dozen countries that are begging us to give us hundreds of millions of dollars to build factories in their countries to rebuild cities. I get emails every day from different countries. Please pick us, select our country. We have the money, we have the government backing. We need you. Think about that.